Hello, this is My Sweet Mess, and welcome to my kitchen, where every week I make a mess trying new recipes in the pursuit of something sweet. This week, I am excited to try a new to me recipe for Hocus Pocus Cookies from Krista at Far From Normal, and I'll leave the original recipe link in the show notes below. These are colorful, festive Halloween cookies. They've got sprinkles, white chocolate chips, and the cutest marbled dough in orange, purple, and green. Since this is my first attempt, you'll be right here with me as I figure it all out. Before we dive into the recipe, let's get started with our mise en place. Mise en place is a fancy French term that means putting in place or everything in its place. Basically, it's about looking at your ingredient list and recipe steps before you start baking, so you're not scrambling while the mixer is running. I have definitely been in this situation where I forgot to set my butter out to get to room temperature, or I was short an egg. And while the mixer is going, that is not the time to realize it. Mise en place just helps to set you up for success. Having everything prepped makes baking so much easier, especially when you're trying something new for the first time. This recipe uses both all-purpose and cake flour. All-purpose flour gives the cookies structure, while the cake flour is a softer and finer flour and helps make the cookies more tender. This recipe calls for dyeing the dough. I'm using gel food coloring because it helps give a really vibrant color without thinning out the dough the way that liquid food coloring can. Now, if all you have is liquid food coloring, you'll be just fine using that, but given a choice, I would go for the gel food coloring in this instance. Once all your ingredients are ready to go, we can move on to prepping our equipment. For this recipe, we'll need 3 small bowls. These are the bowls that you'll use to dye your cookie dough. We'll also need a parchment paper lined cookie sheet and either the bowl of your stand mixer or a large bowl for your electric hand mixer. Once all of our ingredients and our equipment is prepped and ready, we can move on to our bake. First, we will combine all of the dry ingredients. In a medium bowl, I will whisk together the flour, cake flour, cornstarch, baking soda, and salt, and give that a mix with the whisk. Once everything is whisked together, I will set the dry ingredients aside for later. Next, using either an electric hand mixer or a stand mixer fitted with the paddle attachment, I will beat together the butter and sugar until it's light and fluffy. Start mixing the butter and sugar on a low setting to avoid the sugar splashing out of the bowl. Then crank it up to a medium or medium-high speed, depending on your mixer, and let it go for about 2 to 4 minutes. Your butter should change to a lighter color and it will get light and fluffy. Please don't skip this step. I know the urge to move forward quickly is there, but it will really elevate your cookies if you have a little patience and let your butter and sugar go for the full at least 2 minutes. Once the butter and sugar is well combined, I'm actually going to stop the mixer altogether and scrape down the sides. Then I'll turn it back on at a low setting and I'll add our eggs one at a time. By adding the eggs one at a time, it just helps them blend better together into the mixture. Then the vanilla goes in. And again, I'm leaving it at that low setting. Once everything looks good, again, I'll turn the mixer off and scrape down the sides. Now for the dry ingredients. I'm adding the dry ingredients about 1 cup at a time, mixing on low speed so nothing poofs out of the bowl. As I'm adding in the dry ingredients, I'm making sure to stop the mixer and scrape down the sides of the bowl a few times just to ensure everything is well combined. Once it all comes together, I'll divide the dough into 3 equal parts. I weighed mine so I could get pretty even distributions of the colors, but if you want to eyeball this step, be my guest. Okay, now for the fun part, kneading in the food coloring. We'll have 1 orange, 1 purple, and 1 green. As I'm adding in the gel food coloring, I'm trying to remember to add a little bit to start, and I can always add more later. I only have yellow, green, blue, and red gel food coloring, so I had to mix the colors together to get the desired result, but I think it went okay in the end. I like the colors, they're very Halloween themed, and it was a nice arm workout to get everything mixed together. They are bright, festive, and perfect for these Halloween cookies. Now I will shape the cookies. I'm going to scoop out about 2 teaspoons of each color, rolling them into separate little balls. For the purple dough, I use the ice cream scoop to portion everything out. For the green and the orange dough, I just used a spoon, and in the end, I actually prefer just using a regular spoon. So I'm scooping out the dough, rolling it in between my impeccably clean hands, and then placing it on the parchment paper lined cookie sheet. Once all of my dyed dough is rolled into separate balls, I will gently press the 3 colors together. You want them to stick without blending too much, or else it'll muddy the dough. When you're pressing the dough together, you want to make sure that you're sticking the colors together enough that they will come together as they bake, but not so much that the dough starts to get a muddy color to it. In the end, I ended up just kind of smushing them together, and that worked just fine. Once I have my Halloween colored dough ball, I will press a few white chocolate chips into the tops and the sides, and I will sprinkle some Halloween sprinkles on top. And these are already looking so fun. If you have kiddos, this would be a great time to let them help out decorating these fun cookies. As I am decorating, I'm realizing that I might not need the full 2 cups of white chocolate chips. These look like they've got enough chocolate chips for me, so I'm going to make that adjustment. If you want more chocolate chips, or you, like me, don't want to use all of them, then that's totally fine. These are your cookies after all. Once all of the cookies are decorated, these will go into the fridge for about 30 minutes to chill. This just helps them keep their shape in the oven, and I'll see y'all in a bit. It has been about 12 to 14 minutes with my cookies baking at the 400-degree temperature that's suggested in the recipe. And my first batches are a little brown. The white chocolate chips are a little brown, and the colors of the dough are a lot more muted than I expected. That's okay. I've got plenty of dough left, and baking sometimes is about making adjustments as you go along. So that's what I did. I lowered the oven temperature to 375 and moved the tray to the lowest rack. That little tweak gave me cookies that were cooked through with a softer, prettier finish. Once each batch of cookies comes out of the oven, I let them cool on the tray for a few minutes before transferring them to a wire rack. They're soft, colorful, full of white chocolate and sprinkles, and huge. They are like bakery-sized cookies, and I love it. This is my type of cookie. If you want a smaller cookie, I would just use less of each color of dough when shaping the cookies. Okay, time for the taste test. And these are wonderful. They are so buttery and soft. When I make these again, I will add a lot more white chocolate chips to each cookie. Obviously, these expanded quite a bit in the oven, so cookies that look like they had plenty of chips did not. And as I'm tasting the cookie, I am missing the white chocolate chips. So next time, I will load these cookies up. I would also recommend making sure to punch up your dough colors more than I did. As they baked, the colors faded a bit, so next time I'll use more gel food coloring. I love that this recipe gave me a chance to troubleshoot my oven settings and end up with a festive treat that looks as fun as it tastes. If you try these at home, let me know how they turn out and if you had to make any little adjustments along the way. Thank you so much for being with me here today. And remember, trying new things is messy, but the end result can be pretty sweet. Have a great rest of your day. Bye now.